Oh, here we go. Bobby Funaro's coming in. He's speaking. As soon as I talk about money, payoffs, and
A guy
and
from
O.J.
The Sopranos
Simpson,
comes in.
Bobby Funaro comes in. Great show. The one that won the Emmy Award was the one that Michael Imperioli directed, which is called The Birthday Party. Correct? That's the one that won the Emmy Award.
The one that won the
Is
Emmy
your mic on?
for me was Terry Winter's Members Only.
Yeah.
That won
That
an
was
Emmy
the
Award
best
for
writing.
best dramatic series episode. The year that we produced it.
Well, this week I was with Big Pussy. I was up in
Vinny
Maine,
Pastor,
and
my
he doesn't want to be
man.
called Big Pussy anymore. I said, "What did you shrink?" You know, he's with Sally Struthers. You know, I mean, they're both doing Bullets Over Broadway.
Yeah, he's multi-talented. He has his rock band, and Vinny's a great actor. We work together in the Renegade Theater Company. We have a show coming up at the Cutting Room. I'm directing a piece sometime in September, Lovers and Other Strangers, and Maureen Van Zandt.
Yeah, which I love that
And
film.
she's
You know,
involved in it,
that
too.
film was
Yes.
wonderful.
Yes.
That's one of my favorite pictures.
Oh, yeah.
And it was Gig Young was in it. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you know, one of these things that I'm bringing up names, and one of these things missing in our society is history. And, you know, you can't get an audience without having to do a 10-minute explanation of what the hell you're talking about. You know, first you have to explain what it is. It's the old black preacher. First it is I'm going to tell him what I'm going to tell him. Then I tell him what it is I got to say. And then I tell him what I done said. That's what it used to be in the South, you know, during those. That's not a racist thing.
No,
Come
I
on.
know that.
Everybody always looks at everything as being racist. You can't talk. Nobody can say anything anymore. We're all afraid to talk.
Have to be
You know,
politically
I'm not.
correct. That's true.
See, I have this money on the table for
Money.
Not
ABC.
letting it go.
I can say anything I want to say while I'm holding the money. Because believe me, I got them by the balls.
You have leverage. You have leverage.
That's right. Anyway, look at Russ in the other room. He says, "Well, we're going back to NBC." And Bruce just said, "Yeah, well, there's that delay." You know that show that was going to rerun in L.A.?
Yeah.
Bye.
See ya.
We're number one in L.A. We're number two in the cars. The second highest rated show.
It's
in
a great
LA.
honor to be back here with you. You're a great personality, and I really thank you very much for
Thanks,
inviting
Bobby.
me back.
Do you know where I used to see you all the time?
Where?
Michael Imperioli's theater.
Yes. Michael's theater. Yeah.
And you had original shows.
Yeah, well, I never did a play there, but I was somewhat involved with. But we have our own theater company, me, Vinny, and Maureen Van Zandt, called the Renegade. So we did our own shows. Michael did his. And Michael really tried his best to do off-Broadway shows, but it's so hard because of the unions and stuff like that, and what do you have to pay out and. Look, I work with Win Hammond from the American Place Theater, and that was one of the greatest theater artistic directors. He started Sam Shepard, Eric Bogosian, John Leguizamo. I saw him struggle. I mean, I was getting free classes at his workshop, and he made me a receptionist to take classes, and it was a great struggle for him. And he started in the Lindsay administration, and he went out maybe 15 years ago, and he held on. Win is still teaching, believe it or not, and directing, but it's a hard struggle to produce theater in New York City.
Yeah, well, his theater, which was on the Lower West Side, he had it decorated like my grandmother's house. I mean, with the chairs with the plastic on it. And everything. But it was great. It was a theme.
I had an opening with Al Martino. We did a thing called
I don't know Al Martino.
Yes, I know you know Al Martino. We did a film together, a short film together called Cutout. And Michael was nice enough to make us have the premiere there. And my good friend Richard Bright from The Godfather, he showed up, and we had a great time.
We should remind everybody that Al sang the song in The Godfather.
Yes, he did.
Yeah.
But he told me some stories, Al, about The Godfather and how he didn't get that song. Andy Williams got the song.
Oh, yeah.
Because he kind of knew Bob Evans.
Now, do you want to hear? You want to hear a story about Al's
Tell me
past
about it.
now? But I could tell it if you were here. I'd say it. I was the number one disc jockey in the country in the '60s, and I was the guy who had lived like Jackie Gleason. I had a mansion on Delaware Avenue, which became, incidentally, the house for what's her name,
Gilda Radner house. Yeah.
Now these days, but I had a mansion with this indoor pool, and I had a screening room, a bowling alley. I mean, It was sumptuous.
As a disc jockey.
Yeah.
That's
Without
big time.
payola, too.
Right. This
I
is
might-
not Beverly Hills here. This is,
No,
you know,
no payola.
You better hold on to that.
Yeah. So anyway, let me tell you about Al. So Al was a construction guy out of Philly. You know, I
Yes.
mean, he would put in driveways.
He built
And
his home in Beverly Hills. His old backyard. was built
Wonderful,
by
and
him.
he's a good friend, you know, and a good singer, and his publisher was a good friend of mine too, Al Gallico.
Yeah.
But you know, Al also had Bobby Vinton, if I'm going to drop names. But you know what Al did was he came to my place and he looked, and I had an indoor Olympic pool, right? You would think he would be mesmerized and say, "Gee, Joey, you know, I can't believe you live this way, or how wonderful you are." He looked, he says, "That's going to play hell on the ceiling with the humidity coming in." Never gave me the satisfaction of knowing that I had done well.
That's
Is
too
that
much.
Al?
That's Al. But you know, his father was a mason. He was a brickie and from Philadelphia, and he carried on that tradition. I stayed in his place in Beverly Hills, and he was very proud of the masonry he did in his backyard.
I know.
I gave him a little bit of kudos, but you didn't get it that night. I'm sorry.
Well, he lived around Steve Allen.
Yeah.
You know, remember?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Steve tells a great story about leaving the property one morning. You know, he goes out to the garage and he has his hands filled with music. You know, he was a writer.
Oh,
he
yeah.
was a
Yeah.
poet. He was everything, and he had all this stuff in his hands, and no place to put his wallet. So he's walking out of the backyard, and the Japanese gardener was there, and the guy says, "Hello," and Steve says, "Hello."
The wallet in his mouth.
Same crap.
Wallet in the mouth. That's great.
Yeah. But you know, we're telling stories now,
Yeah.
and stories are great, and we don't get them on the air anymore
No,
usually
a
because
shame.
most of these guys don't know how to tell stories. Honestly,
Yeah.
maybe they think the audience isn't interested. You know, we got a fool that tells Trump jokes all night. I got a Trump joke. You want me to tell one? No. No, I mean, what are we doing? Why would we make our living off of arguing on the phone with people who are misinformed?
Yeah.
Right.
Why would we do that? First of all, they're not intelligent calls as a rule. You know, I gave up taking phone calls when I was on the all-night show on WOR because in the middle of the night I would get a call from a woman who wanted to argue about why the Yankees didn't win, and she quarterbacked everything. I mean, you want to take a call at 3? You were there. You were on my show.
Yes,
3
I
o'clock
was,
in the
yeah.
morning, you're going to hear somebody call and bitch about how the Yankees didn't do well.
Why does Secretariat lose the Travis stakes?
And what's his name? What's his name got fired today?
Oh,
The other day.
Spicer, the press
Sean
secretary.
Spicer, right?
Yeah, he resigned.
So
They
he
say
was
resigned.
he was a lefty, wasn't he? Wasn't he? I think he's all right now.
Right now. He's
good.
all right now. He's all
All
right
right
now. He's all right.
He's not right about a lot of things. But you know, the press secretaries go on to have bigger jobs. He got famous.
Yeah, he's going to write a book.
Oh, come on. Everybody writes a book and nobody reads. What are we doing? Download me, please. All right. Now, you know, speaking of that, the governor of Maine is a guy named Paul LePage. And I was on a show, Ray Richardson. And I want to mention him because he plugged us. And Ray Richardson is in the state of Maine. Jim Bolabuk took me over there to his place, and I was on the show with J.J. Jeffries' station.
Yeah.
And Ray wrote this book, Rebuilding Maine's Future. This is the guy that swears and says things.
Oh, yeah.
And gets in trouble.
Gets in
But
trouble.
the state's never been in better shape.
See
So
that?
we need a cursor.
Yeah. So let's not start now, Joey.
So American Gangster, what about it, Bobby?
Well, that was with Ridley Scott. It was some time ago. It was a great experience, and I worked with Josh Brolin. That was wonderful. I played his partner, a guy named my name was McCann in the film, and it was a wonderful experience. Work with Ridley, and that whole experience was great. But you know, if we cut to now, the most exciting thing in my life is this new series called The Sinner, with Jessica Biel, Bill Pullman, Chris Abbott, Patty Darbenville. And it really is a great murder mystery. Why kind of did it happen? Why did this person, Jessica Biel, murder this young man on the beach? And is it homicide? Is it not? It goes into the psyche, and Pullman plays this detective who just believes that she just didn't commit this act of murder. And you can see the trailers. It's on USA, and it premieres August 2nd. And, you know, I've read a lot of scripts, and this one I followed by Derek Simmons. He's the writer, and it's just brilliant. It really is some brilliant writing. You get a lot of. I've been in some TV pilots, and this one's a limited series. A lot of the programs are going limited series now. It's only going to be eight episodes, but I think it really has. It'll have the same impact as Twin Peaks and The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. It's along that genre, that kind of mystery that you really want to see more. Every week you want to see a little bit. And when I was reading it, I said, geez, what's going to happen in the next script? And I just read the final one. It's really good.
Well,
Really
you're
good.
great. You're great.
Oh,
First
thanks.
of all, you stayed as a regular guy, which is nice.
Oh, thanks.
And you moved from Staten Island to Brooklyn, which is a good move.
Oh, yeah.
Usually it's the other way around.
Well, you didn't want to pay for Easy Pass.
Right.
I love Brooklyn. That's my...
My idea of Easy Pass was one of those hookers on 8th Avenue.
Wow.
So what
I
happens?
love the restaurants in Brooklyn.
My bad jokes.
Okay.
So what happens now with your career? Are you going to do film? Are we kind
Well,
of
you
like...
know, I've always done film and television. The body of my work, it truly is in television, from Sopranos
Vinyl?
to Law and Order
Vinyl. Vinyl is
and Vinyl, which was a really big show. I don't know why it was canceled.
Yeah,
Who
makes no
knows why?
sense.
That was a great one.
Because there was no payola.
Well, Scorsese and Mick Jagger were the executive producers.
You would think. You would think. You would think.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, and of course I do love to do theater, and theater is my first love, because it just has this chronology. When you're doing it, you get a beginning and a middle and an end, and you get that kind of that feedback from the audience. There's nothing like it. You get a kind of a somewhat of a feedback when you're watching yourself on TV and film, and maybe when you're doing it, when you're performing it, you say, well, that was a good take. I really liked it, but it's not the same. It's
How
not
do you
the
feel
same.
about sequels? How does that strike you? We were on.
Well, you know, there could be really good sequels.
Wonder Woman and Spider-Man.
Well, I just heard that Wonder
Number
Woman is
one.
going to have a sequel.
Well, you know why? Because Marvel Comics bought AMC. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable how we've gotten into
I
the
think
comic
it's the,
book business.
I think it's the content. I think the reason why Sin is such I think is going to be a success, is very successful, is because it was written as a novel.
Yeah.
And I think Jessica Biel, and I don't think she's producing it. And I think that once this airs, even Chris Abbott, there's just and Bill Pullman, they're all going to get a resurgence.
Yeah.
I believe in their careers, and even for myself, because I'm part of that success. I play a father-in-law. And I think that the actor now is looking more to produce for themselves, because that work, that those writers like Arthur Miller and Tennessee Williams, they're not just Shanley is probably, John Patrick Shanley is our last great writer that we have here in America. There are other great writers, and Larry Kramer and stuff, but you know what I mean, who were able to make that transition. And I think a lot of actors are looking to and I think Jessica, by producing this, is really, people are going to look at her and see her on a different level. I think this is really going to be a stepping stone for her really doing great work.
When are we going to see it? When do we see it?
August 2nd.
Wednesday. It's a Wednesday night.
So we'll see
August
it.
2nd,
We'll see it
USA.
on there, and then we'll see you at the Cutting Room too with
Absolutely.
Vinny, with
Absolutely.
Vinny Bullets over Broadway.
We'll be there.
Pastor.
We'll be there in September, Joe.
Little pussy. We'll be right back.
All right. This is the Late Joey Reynolds Show. Is brought to you by TiedInMedia.com. Tied In Media.